What do they say about good judgment? Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. But
TK70 rocks.
yeah.
Did you want this one?
What?
Did you want this one?
No, it wouldn't fit my bike anyway. I have bigger tires.
Do you?
Yeah.
What?
Holy smokes, friends and family. You better get that thing swapped out before they come over here and freaking press charges for trespassing.
No, we got authorization.
I want to tell a story while you work on getting this here tire on. And I want to start out by emphasizing how beautifully glorious this afternoon and evening has turned into. Does it smell fresh?
Fresh rubber?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, rubber.
All right, so we are here on Interstate 84, about 45, 50 miles north of Twin Falls, Idaho.
Right over there by the Loves.
And Levi and I both have brand new rear tires. Now we are off the freeway at some granary, and I offloaded all my gear here. And I want to say that I wasn't even going to do any vlogging or anything, but this has kind of turned into a bit of an episode, so what the hell. What do they say about good judgment? Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. But, I love that saying, but oftentimes I find bad judgment doesn't always necessarily mean blatant, flagrant, just, throwing caution to the wind. But what sometimes I find is bad judgment is sometimes, it's kind of pushing the limits and finding out where the boundaries are and where pushing the envelope really. And when it comes to our tires, both Levi and I, as it turns out on this particular trip, that's exactly what we did. But in all reality, if you're not pushing the limits or pushing the boundaries, if you haven't pushed it and you don't know, then what are you really even doing with your life? You got to figure out where the boundaries are. So in this case, both our rear tires were practically down to the wear bars, just about, and so we pushed it to see how far we could go. Levi's trying to get to Portland, which is another 500 miles, and I'm just along for the ride, and we're trying to make a kind of a little bit of an impromptu trip out of this. And we're gonna swing up and do some business up in Boise and have a good time, meet up with some friends, and maybe do a camp. So I figured I had enough tread on that rear tire to get us on this trip, and then get back home, and I have a brand new set of tires back home. So lo and behold, here I ended up having to drop a bunch of money. Fortunately, this happened. Well, let me just emphasize real quick, without running BMW GS, I got the GS Adventure and the GS, without having the swing arm and the single and the ability to pop your wheel off and simply put your 5 lugs in, this would have been an entire other shit show, no question about it. But the shaft drive on these things is just amazing. It's so handy. Look at that. This damn granary closed down. These guys came over and started hassling Levi. We should have pulled the bike over outside of the gate, not inside. I don't know. I was following Levi. It's his fault. If you have this happen to you again, don't pull inside the gate. What the hell? Because you might be there longer till before they close down for business. So we're trying to wrap this shit up and get out of here. Meanwhile, I'm vlogging and I got to reload the bike. But anyway, it's a hell of a trip. It's pretty great. And his tire, he ended up having a flat. So we were considering turning back and going and doing a little sightseeing, and then all of a sudden, just as we were turning on the signal to get off the off-ramp here, he's like, oh, Jeremy, I got a flat. I look back, and sure enough, he's got a flat. So we pull off on the grass over there, and his tire is smoking, and it's flat as shit. So I'm just thinking, nah, it's not gonna be that bad. We'll find the hole, we'll plug it, and we'll be on our way. Nope, sure enough, dude, his treads, I'll try to show these photos here, began like debonding, and essentially the steel belts were starting to show. So we pull in here, start making phone calls. Harley Davidson, by the way, the guy was super helpful in the parts department, but essentially was like, no, it's our policy. You can talk to the service center, but they're not gonna, unless it says Harley on it, they won't even touch it. So, you know, what does that say about them as a company? I love Harleys. I would own a Harley. I want to own Harleys, but if you can't even get some fucking tire service when you're on the road, unless you're part of the club, I get it. Maybe it's their liability or whatever, but you know, any reputable bike shop, especially one with a fucking 100-year-long legacy as an American motorcycle shop, ought to be able to, you know, get some motorcyclists back on the road. A lot of people that drive BMWs drive Harleys too, so that's kind of nonsense. Anyway, rant off about that. But so we load up and I take his wheel. Oh, so we called Harley. They might have had a tire, but wasn't really sure. We got a hold of Adventure Motorsports. These guys totally took care of us. I ended up spending $900 there because I did finally drop money on these new pants that I've been meaning to get, and my tire. Levi's 300 some odd dollars in there. So they took really good care of us, and big shout out to those guys. The parts dudes, the service center, oh man, stellar guys. I had left my toolbox here with Levi, so I couldn't even get my wheel off when I got there. So dude busted out a torque wrench for me, and those guys are super legit. Got some stickers, and totally awesome. So my intent was to get to Boise, and I thought, you know, tomorrow when I have some free time on my hands, I'd call around and consider maybe getting a new tire. As soon as I get there, I checked to see if they had my size tire. They didn't have a size for Levi's front, but so he might have bought that and at least had me bring it back as a spare. But while they were there, hey, that's only 60 Newton meters, bro. You don't have to go very tight, I learned. So I'm like, well, let me see what tires you've got there for mine. I go out and look at mine, and sure as shit, dude, the threads are showing. So, oh my God, I was pushing it, totally pushing it. So look at these photos. I'll show the photos of the threads showing. Totally bonkers, totally ridiculous.
And everybody's got a German torque wrench on them.
Yeah. A Guten-Tight.
Guten-Tight.
There you go.
I hear your elbow cracking.
So turns out this was the only tire they had in my size, a 170/60/17. Levi needed the next size down, 150/70/17. So we kind of cleaned them out, the last two tires. So if this had happened, you know, farther up the road, what a hassle it would have been. And or if we were up in the mountains or whatever. So, you know, we learned the lesson. But I want to emphasize also that we came over the mountain pass into Snowville through a freaking blizzard, dude. Snowflakes this big.
Yeah, wet snow.
And fortunately, there was a little bit of spots of slush, but it was just getting pretty wet. And it was only for, I don't know, 5-6 miles of pretty intense. And it was 34 degrees, so it wasn't becoming an ice hazard to us. But dude, this day started off with us. That's why we're running so late in the day, is because this shit weather. We are in May 4th or 5th right now. Is it Cinco de Mayo? And
It is.
it's supposed to be nicer weather by now. So we procrastinated and debated and tossed around all sorts of different options of what we were going to do on this trip. Maybe bring the Tundra, blah, 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 blah. So we got out of the house super late, and we knew we were going to have some weather to contend with. And just to wrap this up, at the end of the day, through this experience, look at how glorious this is. The good Lord's shining upon us. Somehow, through a small miracle, the exact two tires we needed were the last two tires of this type that the shop had on hand. I asked him to buy some more for the next ADV guys that are rolling through, but you know, the good Lord's looking out. So despite driving through a freaking gnarly, horrendous storm, it's turning out to be a pretty nice night. So we're gonna have a little Sunday sunset cruise into Boise, get some dinner, and then go stay the night at my cousin's house. Anyway, hopefully I can get around to posting that video of the California trip, because that is a 5 or 6 or 7 part series that I have begun the edit of. And anyway, I hope to get back to that. So enjoy some adventure content, and hope to see you on the next video.
And I found out today about why they call it May, the month May.
Why is that?
It may snow, it may be 70 degrees and sunny, it may rain.
Gnarly. All right. Have fun. Take care, you guys.
Cruisiness.